Feeling like every K-drama romance is starting to look the same? Then you're in the right place. Today, we're talking about the K-dramas that broke the mold and delivered some of the most unconventional love stories you'll find anywhere. After all, where else can you watch a Joseon-era concubine, a virtual boyfriend, and a former gangster somehow make romance work? Here are 15 unconventional K-dramas that prove the best love stories are often the ones you never see coming. Number 1. Yumi's Cells.
점심 먹으러 가요. 저기 요 앞에 죽집 리뷰 좋던데.
괜찮습니다. 별로 생각도 없고.
약 먹으려면 점심 먹어야죠. 그리고 나도 배고프고요. 제가 살게요. 가요.
Let's start with a romance that takes you somewhere no other K-drama can, inside your own head. Yumi's Cells follows Kim Yumi, played by Kim Go-eun, an ordinary office worker who eventually becomes a romance novelist. But what makes this drama special is that every emotion she feels is brought to life through adorable animated cells living inside her brain. Instead of guessing what the characters are thinking, we literally watch their emotions battle it out in real time. Across 3 seasons, Yumi falls in love with 3 very different men. Gu Woong, the awkward game developer played by An Bo-hyun, Yu Bobby, the famously charming walking green flag played by Park Jin-young, and Shin Soon-rock, the quiet book editor played by Kim Jae-won. And honestly, each season has its own magic. The first gives you the excitement of falling in love again, the second delivers some truly heartbreaking moments, and the final season brings one of the most satisfying endings in K-drama romance. More than just a love story, Yumi's Cells is about growth, healing, and finding yourself through every relationship along the way. And by turning those emotions into a hilarious animated world inside Yumi's head, it creates a romance experience unlike anything else in K-drama. If you want to watch it, all 3 seasons are available on Rakuten Viki, though availability may vary by region. Number 2. Love to Hate You.
혹시 지금도 누가 보고 있을까요?
어쩌면요?
그럼 뭐라도 해야겠네요.
Next up is a romantic comedy that's basically a non-stop battle of pride, ego, and chemistry. Love to Hate You stars Kim Ok-vin as Yeo Mi-ran, a fiercely competitive lawyer who hates losing to men, and Tae Yoo as Nam Kang-ho, Korea's biggest movie star, who secretly struggles to trust women. When circumstances push them into a fake relationship, neither expects to actually fall for the other. What makes this drama so fun is that the romance feels like one long sparring match. Mi-ran isn't your typical rom-com heroine waiting to be rescued, and Kang-ho quickly realizes his usual charm won't work on her. The constant bickering, teasing, and stubbornness create some genuinely hilarious moments. But underneath all the comedy, Love to Hate You does something surprisingly refreshing. It flips many classic K-drama romance tropes on their head and gives us a couple that feels much more equal than usual. Watching them slowly let their guards down is easily the best part of the show. If you're looking for a fast-paced enemies-to-lovers romance with great chemistry and plenty of laughs, this one is an easy recommendation. And since it's a Netflix original, you can stream it worldwide on Netflix. Number 3. The story of Park's marriage contract.
아니에요. 그런 곳까지 나 데리러 와줬잖아요. 이제 괜찮아요. 내가 왔으니까.
What if the love of your life disappeared, only for you to meet someone who looks exactly like them centuries later? The story of Park's marriage contract stars Lee Si-young as Park Yeon-woo, a woman from the Joseon-era who suddenly finds herself transported to modern-day Seoul after losing her husband. There, she meets Kang Tae-ha, played by Bae In-hyuk, a cold and reserved chaebol heir who looks exactly like the man she loved. Before long, the two find themselves in a contract marriage, but what starts as a practical arrangement slowly turns into something much deeper. What makes this drama stand out is how it takes several classic K-drama tropes: contract marriage, fish-out-of-water comedy, chaebol romance, reincarnation, and time-slip fantasy, and blends them into something surprisingly fresh. The fish-out-of-water moments are especially fun, as Yeonwoo tries to make sense of smartphones, modern fashion, elevators, and everyday life in a world that's 2 centuries ahead of her own. Not every K-drama can juggle this many familiar tropes without feeling messy, but the story of Park's marriage contract pulls it off with charm, humor, and plenty of emotional payoff. You can stream the story of Park's marriage contract on Rakuten Viki, though availability may vary by region. Number 4. Dreaming of a freaking fairy tale.
변태처럼 한번 나를 이렇게 안아봐.
어이, 아가씨!
Here's a romantic comedy that takes the classic Cinderella story and completely flips it on its head. Dreaming of a Freaking Fairy Tale stars Pyo Ye-jin as Shin Jae-rim, a woman who's tired of struggling through life and openly dreams of meeting her own Prince Charming. Then she meets Moon Cha-min, played by Lee Jun-young, a rich, handsome heir who looks like he walked straight out of a fairy tale, but who doesn't believe in love at all. What follows is a hilarious clash between a woman chasing her happy ending and a man determined not to have one. What makes this drama stand out is its self-awareness. It knows exactly how ridiculous some romance tropes can be and isn't afraid to poke fun at them. The show takes familiar K-drama ingredients, the rich chaebol, the Cinderella fantasy, and the unlikely romance, and turns them into a playful comedy that never takes itself too seriously. A lot of the humor comes from how completely opposite the 2 leads are. Jae-rim approaches life like she's the heroine of a romance novel, while Cha-min acts like he's been personally offended by the existence of fairy tales. Their constant bickering, exaggerated situations, and over-the-top reactions make for some genuinely laugh-out-loud moments. If you're looking for something light, funny, and refreshingly self-aware, this one is definitely worth checking out. Depending on your region, you can stream Dreaming of a Freaking Fairy Tale on View or Paramount+. Number 5. My Sweet Mobster.
지갑은 받았어요? 용무가 바빠 보이셔서 전해주고만 왔는데.
아, 맞습니다. 그게 말이죠. 일 때문에 온 겁니다.
일 때문에 손도 잡고 그러는구나.
This next romance answers a question nobody was asking. What happens when a children's content creator falls for a former mob boss? My Sweet Mobster stars Han Sun-hwa as Go Yoon-ha, a cheerful content creator known online as Minnie, and Tae-gu as Seo Ji-hwan, a former gangster who now runs a company helping ex-convicts rebuild their lives through honest work. When Yoon-ha suddenly finds herself struggling with nowhere to go, Ji-hwan and his crew unexpectedly become her support system. And honestly, that's where the magic of this drama comes from. On one side, you have Yoon-ha's endless optimism and sunshine energy. On the other, you have Ji-hwan, a tough and intimidating man who secretly has one of the softest hearts in K-drama. Watching their worlds collide creates plenty of funny, wholesome, and surprisingly touching moments. What makes this drama stand out is that it's much more than a simple opposites attract romance. Beneath all the comedy and sweetness is a story about second chances, redemption, and whether people can truly leave their past behind. The lovable group of former gangsters adds even more charm, creating a found family dynamic that often steals the show. You can stream My Sweet Mobster on Rakuten Viki, though availability may vary depending on your region. Number 6. Love Your Enemy.
뭐야 너? 아니 나 안 해.
아니 이게 처음도 아닌데 난 왜 이렇게 이게 어색하지?
Some people never get over their first love. These 2 never got over their rivalry. Love Your Enemy stars Jung Yumi as Yoon Ji-won and Ju Ji-hoon as Seok Ji-won, 2 people who share the same name, were born on the same day and have spent nearly 2 decades competing with and irritating each other. Years after going their separate ways, fate throws them back together when Seok Ji-won returns as the new chairman of a school where Yoon Ji-won works as a gym teacher. And let's just say, the reunion doesn't exactly go smoothly. The chemistry here comes from the constant bickering. Every conversation feels like a challenge. Every interaction turns into a competition. And yet, it's obvious there's something much deeper hiding beneath all that frustration. The more they argue, the more you realize neither of them has truly moved on from the past. If you're a fan of romances where the leads spend half the drama denying their feelings and the other half trying not to fall for each other again, this one delivers exactly what you're looking for. You can watch Love Your Enemy on Disney Plus or Rakuten Viki, depending on your region. Number 7. Love Scout.
나 이소은 절대 안 놓을 거예요. 그러니까 에너지도 놓지 마요.
Here's a workplace romance that quietly turns the genre upside down. Love Scout stars Han Ji-min as Kang Ji-yoon, the brilliant CEO of a headhunting firm who's exceptional at her job, but struggles with almost everything outside of work. Opposite her is Lee Jun-hyuk as Yoo Yoon-ho, the perfect secretary. Organized, dependable, endlessly kind, and somehow an amazing single father as well. Ji-yoon is ambitious, guarded, and completely consumed by her career. Yoon-ho, meanwhile, is the calm, steady presence who seems to have life figured out. And as they spend more time together, he slowly helps her rediscover parts of herself she's neglected for years. What makes this drama feel different is how it flips several familiar K-drama formulas. Usually, healing romances feature a cold, emotionally unavailable male lead being saved by a warm-hearted woman. This time, it's the opposite. The drama also refreshingly reverses the classic boss-secretary dynamic. Instead of the powerful CEO rescuing the employee, it's the secretary who quietly changes the CEO's life. If you're looking for a mature, comforting romance with fantastic chemistry and one of the greenest green flag male leads in recent K-dramas, Love Scout is an easy recommendation. You can stream Love Scout on Netflix or Rakuten Viki, depending on your region. Number 8. Melo movie.
그럼 내 비밀 말하면 나 좋아해 주나?
This one's for anyone who's getting a little tired of the usual romance cliches. Melo movie stars Choi Woo-shik as Ko Gyum, a passionate movie lover turned film critic, and Park Bo-young as Kim Moo-bi, an aspiring director carrying emotional baggage of her own. Set in the world of filmmaking, the drama follows their journey through love, friendship, dreams, and adulthood. What makes Melo movie stand out is that it could have easily become a typical romance filled with dramatic misunderstandings and over-the-top twists. Instead, it chooses realism. The characters feel like real people with real problems. Bad timing, career struggles, emotional wounds, and the fear of opening up to someone. The romance is refreshingly grounded, allowing feelings to develop naturally rather than relying on destiny or grand gestures. And that's what makes it so easy to connect with. Sometimes, watching two imperfect people slowly figure out life, and love can be more compelling than any dramatic plot twist. If you're looking for a mature, heartfelt romance that feels honest and relatable, Melo movie is definitely worth watching. Since it's a Netflix original, you can stream it worldwide on Netflix. Number 9. When Life Gives You Tangerines.
10살이 뭐래?
그 아저씨는 다 해준대. 나 대학도 보내주고 시인도 시켜준대.
나도 다 해. 뭔 배를 타든 벽돌을 치든 나도 다.
싫어.
Now for a love story that doesn't just span years, it spans an entire lifetime. Set on Jeju Island, When Life Gives You Tangerines stars IU as Ae-soon, a spirited young woman with big dreams, and Park Bo-gum as Gwon-sik, the quietly devoted man who loves her through every stage of life. Together, they navigate decades of love, family, hardship, and change. What makes this drama so special is that it isn't trying to reinvent romance. There are no fantasy twists, no time travel, and no larger-than-life gimmicks. Instead, it tells the kind of love story people actually hope for, one that lasts. While most romance dramas end when the couple gets together, this one shows everything that comes after. The sacrifices, the struggles, the joys, and the choice to keep loving someone through every season of life. It's a beautiful reminder that sometimes the greatest love stories aren't built on magic or destiny. They're built on two people simply choosing each other again and again. Since it's a Netflix original, you can stream it worldwide on Netflix. Number 10. Moon River.
개 타셨네 어서나리. 저런 절세미인이 정 혼자라니.
절세미인은 이쁜 건 네가 더 이쁘거든.
Next up is a fantasy romance that takes one of K-drama's most beloved tropes and turns it into something surprisingly emotional. Moon River stars Kang Tae-oh as Crown Prince Yegang, a man consumed by grief and revenge after losing the woman he loved, and Kim Se-jong as Park Dali, a traveling merchant with no memories of her past who happens to look exactly like his late princess. But there's one major complication. Whenever danger strikes, the two mysteriously switch bodies. Yegang is cold, guarded, and driven by vengeance. Dalai is warm, optimistic, and completely lost in a world full of questions about who she really is. As they're forced to live in each other's shoes, they begin to understand one another in ways no one else can. What makes this drama stand out is that it combines several fan-favorite K-drama tropes. Body swapping, historical romance, mystery, and lost memories, without letting any of them overshadow the love story. The body swap isn't just there for laughs. It becomes the very thing that allows the two leads to truly understand each other's fears, wounds, and emotions. After all, it's hard not to fall for someone when you've literally experienced life through their eyes. With palace intrigue, fantasy elements, plenty of comedy, and a heartfelt romance at its center, Moon River offers a refreshing take on familiar K-drama formulas. You can stream Moon River on Rakuten Viki and View, depending on your region. Number 11, To My Beloved Thief.
그건 왜 하필 너와 나인가의 문제야. 생시가 어떻게 돼?
병원년 경자월 개일이요.
아, 나랑은 날일도 다른데.
If you thought one historical body swap romance was enough, this drama takes the idea and adds even more chaos. To My Beloved Thief stars Nam Ji-hyun as Hong Yoon-jo, a respected court physician by day and a legendary thief by night who steals from corrupt officials to help the poor. Opposite her is Moon Sang-min as Lee Yeol, a royal inspector secretly investigating corruption while pretending to be a carefree prince. When fate brings them together, the two suddenly find themselves swapping souls. And that's where things get really fun. What makes this drama stand out is how many genres it successfully blends together. You have a Robin Hood-style heroine, a prince hiding his true identity, palace conspiracies, mystery, action, and a body swap romance all wrapped into one story. The soul swap forces two people who should be enemies to rely on each other, creating plenty of hilarious situations, unexpected teamwork, and growing romantic tension. It's the kind of drama that constantly keeps things moving while still delivering a heartfelt romance at its core. If you enjoy historical K-dramas with action, mystery, comedy, and a unique love story, this one checks all the boxes. You can find To My Beloved Thief on Rakuten Viki in select regions. Number 12, No Tale to Tell.
야, 너 괜찮아? 아까 그 사람들은
왜? 복수라도 하게?
Here's a fantasy romance that completely flips one of K-drama's oldest supernatural tropes. No Tale to Tell stars Kim Hye-yoon as Yoon-ho, a nine-tailed fox who has absolutely no interest in becoming human. Unlike most Gumiho characters, she loves her immortal life and has no desire to give up her powers, freedom, or eternal youth for romance. But after an unexpected accident involving Kang Se-yeol, a famous and incredibly self-confident soccer star played by Lomon, she suddenly finds herself trapped as a human, and she's not happy about it. Yoon-ho is playful, mischievous, and determined to get her old life back. Se-yeol is charming, arrogant, and completely used to being the center of attention. Naturally, putting them together creates plenty of hilarious clashes before the romance starts to bloom. What makes this drama stand out is that it takes the familiar Gumiho formula and turns it upside down. Usually, the supernatural character desperately wants to become human for love. Here, Yoon-ho spends most of the story trying to avoid exactly that. The result is a fresh, funny take on a fantasy romance that's packed with comedy, chemistry, and plenty of heart. If you're looking for a lighthearted romance with a unique twist on Korean folklore, this one is definitely worth checking out. Since it's a Netflix original, you can stream it worldwide on Netflix. Number 13, Boyfriend on Demand.
그걸로 안 지워져요.
네. 뭐야?
What if finding the perfect boyfriend was as easy as clicking subscribe? Boyfriend on Demand stars Jisoo as Seo Mi-rae, an overworked webtoon producer who's completely exhausted by real-world dating. Looking for romance without the heartbreak, she signs up for a virtual dating service that creates her ideal boyfriend, someone attentive, charming, and perfectly tailored to her preferences. But things get complicated when her cold and mysterious workplace rival, played by Seo In-guk, starts becoming a much bigger part of her life. Mi-rae thinks she wants a relationship with zero risk and zero drama. Her virtual boyfriend offers exactly that. But as her feelings begin to shift, she's forced to confront a surprisingly difficult question. Can a perfect digital romance ever compete with an imperfect real person? What makes this drama stand out is how it takes familiar rom-com tropes and gives them a modern twist. Instead of a love triangle between two people, it's a battle between fantasy and reality. In a world increasingly shaped by AI and technology, Boyfriend on Demand explores what love actually means when perfection is only a subscription away. With its mix of romance, comedy, and futuristic dating dilemmas, this is one of the more unique romance concepts to come out of recent K-dramas. Since it's a Netflix original, you'll be able to stream it worldwide. Number 14. Filing for Love.
뭐 하는 거예요?
진짠가 싶어서. 아니 어떻게 정확히 딱 그 순간에 내 앞에 나타날 수가 있어? 진짜 신기해.
Romance can show up in the most unexpected places. Even in the office department nobody wants to work in. Filing for Love stars Shin Hye-sun as Ju In-ah, the feared and eccentric head of a major company's audit department, and Gong Myung as No Ki-jun, a rising corporate star whose career comes crashing down when he's suddenly demoted to the team handling internal misconduct cases. Forced to work under In-ye, the two quickly become entangled in office scandals, power struggles, and a rivalry that slowly starts turning into something more. What makes this drama different from many workplace romances is that it actually focuses on the workplace itself. Instead of using the office as just a backdrop for flirting, the story dives into corporate politics, workplace investigations, office rivalries, and the pressure of surviving inside a competitive company. The enemies to lovers dynamic is also a huge part of the appeal. Ki-jun and In-ah constantly clash, challenge each other, and struggle to trust one another, making the romance feel like a natural result of everything they go through together rather than something forced into the story. It's a workplace rom-com with plenty of tension, comedy, and slow-burn chemistry, proving that sometimes love shows up right in the middle of the office chaos you're trying to escape. You can stream Filing for Love on HBO Max and Rakuten Viki, depending on your region. Number 15. My Royal Nemesis.
우리 둘이 있을 때는 이렇게 철 좀 없어지는 거야. 빌어먹을 세상 따위 개나 줘버리고 나랑 두근두근하자.
And finally, we have one of the boldest romance concepts on this entire list. A drama where the villainess gets to be the heroine. My Royal Nemesis stars Lim Ji-yeon as Kang Dan-sim, a notorious Joseon-era royal concubine who is executed, only to wake up hundreds of years later inside the body of a struggling modern actress named Shin Seo-ri. Determined to survive this strange new world, she relies on the same cunning and ambition that once helped her navigate palace politics. Standing in her way is a cold and powerful chaebol heir, played by Heo Nam-jun, who quickly becomes the one variable she can't control, an unexpected force that turns her modern life upside down, and, much to her annoyance, starts shaking up her heart as well. But honestly, one of the best parts is how funny it is. Lim Ji-yeon and Heo Nam-jun are both known for playing intense or villainous roles, so watching them thrown into ridiculous rom-com situations is surprisingly refreshing. Their constant bickering, power struggles, and over-the-top reactions make the enemies to lovers' chemistry even more entertaining. And the best part? You probably won't get through a single episode without either laughing at their antics or swooning over their chemistry. One moment they're trying to outsmart each other, and the next they're accidentally becoming one of the most entertaining couples on screen. It's streaming on Netflix, though availability may vary by region. And there you have it. 15 unconventional K-dramas that toss out the rulebook and prove that the freshest love stories are the ones brave enough to be different. Which of these is going straight to the top of your watch list? And which unconventional romance did we miss? Let me know down in the comments. Now, click on this next video to see what are the must-watch ongoing and current K-dramas at the moment.